Hello and welcome everybody to the show, The Future of Web. This is the 12th episode. So this show is, all about Web3 technologies. The intention is to educate people, to increase understanding and wider adoption of this technology. So here we discuss, the current state of Web3 and how different personnel, be it a founder, investor, developer, designer, community manager, tester, and several other people within this space are trying to, make this, take this forward by the products that they're building or the services that they provide. Hello, my name is Alek, and I'm the founder of Animo Solution, which is a Web3 design and development agency. So we do a lot of cool stuff, which you can go and check out our LinkedIn page or website. All right, so let's move on. First of all, apologies, we're starting about 6 minutes late. So there were some challenges, with the guest camera. We were trying to fix that. So hopefully, which are solved by now. So about the guest, so today we have someone who envisions metaverse as a place where nationality, gender, race, or ethnicity are no longer confine you, but instead, those are the choices that you can make and how you can create multiple different experiences. He's a founder of YOM. That's an acronym for Your Open Metaverse. We're going to talk a lot more about that during our discussion. And obviously, needless to say, he's a proponent of Metaverse. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, Alec. Hey.
Yes.
So
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I hope my video isn't lagging too much, but you can hear me well, I believe. So yeah, excited to
Yeah.
be on the show.
Oh no, thank you so much. So you from joining in, from the middle of the day. You're in where? Netherlands, right? Utrecht.
Yes, Utrecht, indeed. Yeah, it's like a small
Yeah.
version of Amsterdam.
Oh yes, it's one of my favorite places. So one of my cousins stays there. So I'd
In
been there,
Utrecht.
a couple of times. Yeah, yeah, Utrecht.
Cool.
He's
Awesome.
yeah. So he and his wife, I think, are a professor or somebody in the IT department in the university. I think.
Oh, cool. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. So all right. So let's take this forward. So first question that I usually ask, all my guests is, what is it that gets you up every morning?
Well, basically, I'm very, I love working on this product we're making, of course, with Yom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the idea is also to make my phone, my webcam just gone. But
That's all right. Let's continue.
yeah, so yeah, basically the whole idea of helping people find like-minded people, via the metaverse, creating a more sustainable world. Um, yeah, I think this is the way to go to get to a more sustainable world without limiting our freedoms. So you can just
Yeah.
travel as much as you want, you can consume as much as you want, but
Yeah.
if you do it virtually, it's much less harming to the planet.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree. And with the weekly events that you're hosting, and we are part of, it's amazing.
Thank you.
What happened there. So at the onset, like the viewers, please go ahead and join the Metaverse Explorers. It's a community on LinkedIn, which started by Daniel, and it's fantastic. I've been a part of it from the very beginning, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's amazing, what we end up discussing there. So you should follow him on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah, pleasure. So, okay, so let's get to know you a little bit, So, how we can usually do that is if you can share a little secret about yourself, which you can obviously publicly share, something that you have not shared with anyone yet.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually, so the whole idea behind Yom is the first idea for this was a 3D presentation tool. So I started that in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I called it Explain, XPLN. Oh, yeah, like a plane, like a 3D plane with an X
Mm-hmm.
for it. Um, Basically, I wanted to make another Prezi, like Beat Prezi. I don't know if you know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a presentation tool.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was very very enthusiastic about using game engines, in 3D
Hmm.
technology, for telling stories, for communication, since 2013 already. So that's almost 10 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
So
Interesting. So that's a long lost dream, that you're trying to fulfill now through Yom.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Cool. So, so okay, so so you had this idea for a long time, but if you understand a little bit about your career path, you've been a marketer, like in digital marketing most of your time. Why
Yes,
did you choose, like
to
why
make
call it
money.
Yom and build it? Yeah.
Uh, Basically, it was, and then my previous employers, my previous two employers, they're also investors in Beamup,
Hmm.
Yon. But
Hmm.
I guess they know already that I was only working. Yeah, then it was called Explain, so it had a different
Yeah.
name. They know my passion was somewhere else, uh, so it was from the get go. It was clear. But yeah, of course, without when you're not earning money with your startup idea, you need to survive, right? You need to have some.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Tell me about it. It is,
But it's very
it's a different
stressful
vibe.
though. It's very stressful though to work to try to get the startup off the ground while you're also working 4 days a week somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, there's launching a startup. It's stressful, however you start it, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only about the money, it's also about, getting the team together, getting the idea clarity, and, the initial set of people to support you.
yeah,
So, all those things come together to define, how it actually goes ahead. And it's interesting, when you said that your ex-employers are investors in your current company. It
yeah.
tells a lot about them and a bit about your relationship skills as well. So fantastic for that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
Absolutely, man. You like how
yeah.
many of the ex employers would want to support you? I mean, we don't know in today's world, not many, but
I
yeah,
thought
but
I
there
thought
are a few.
I think my last one, he just wanted to get rid of me because he was like this. Yeah, because it was so at a certain moment, of course, COVID happened, right, in March
Yeah,
2020. So then a lot of
yeah,
people reached out to me or knew how to find me because I was the guy that was talking about avatars all the time on LinkedIn, right? So
yeah,
and I was
yeah,
and at that time I was really focused on the events market. So I built a lot of relationships with
yeah,
people like public speakers and event organizers. And at a certain
yeah.
moment, my boss felt something like, "Okay, Daniel, you need to leave now. You need to. This is your chance. You're not gonna forgive yourself if you." But yeah, I had no money, so he helped me at least get started with a minimal
With the
amount.
initial, fantastic, fantastic. Cool. So we'll talk a little more about Yom, a little later. But let's just understand. So okay, so you had, you were thinking about creating a tool for better presentations,
Yes,
right? And then you wanted to do something about events. So now
yes,
you're working, you like Yom essentially is like an infrastructure at the core for
yeah,
building different metaverses.
yeah.
What gave you that idea?
Well, basically, it all came together. I think it started really in the summer of 2021. It was together.
Hmm.
So basically, I have two co-founders, Alex and Jorrit.
Yeah.
And Jorrit had a lot of knowledge and also experience with crypto for
Hmm.
the past few years, um,
Hmm.
and we were basically so we started to see if we can look like if we can. So what we were doing was basically we create so sort of like an agency.
Hmm.
We helped companies, with events in a virtual world with lifelike,
Hmm.
or we try to make them as lifelike as possible at least. But with public speakers as avatars,
Hmm.
we were doing that as an agency, but we needed a platform because that's what we tried. That's what our goal was ultimately. Um,
Hmm.
and in the summer of 2021, we started to look if we could integrate blockchain into our proposition.
Hmm.
Um, and that's basically how much more became that's when it started to become YOM, actually, your open metaverse. Because we were just searching, right, for we were evangelizing the metaverse early, like in the early 2021, and of course nobody understands what the hell we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a tough time. Also, the Netherlands,
I
I
can
don't know, the
imagine.
Netherlands is very down to earth. So if you're talking about what if scenarios, I'm not sure if the Netherlands is the best country. I think Americans, for instance, they're much more, I don't know, maybe much more into it, or yeah, it may be easier
Yeah,
to
so
see.
they market things better, irrespective it's a new idea, they can market things better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And so
exactly.
that and you can have that open discussion about like grand plans and big visions.
Yeah, I think in the Netherlands we say "doe maar normaal, dan doe je al gek genoeg." So that means like just act normal, then you're crazy, you're acting crazy enough, and that's and then you can think. And if you talk about the metaverse before, the rebranding Facebook to Meta, people tend to think you're a bit crazy. But yeah, so basically we just looked like just working on our product, and then we saw an opportunity with blockchain, and that's how it really started to get off the ground.
Nice. So
Yeah.
which blockchain are you building on?
Well, at the moment we're building on Solana,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, this is something my CTO could explain much better.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we're
so
making it in a way that you can log in into these experiences with any wallet, or the most mainstream
the
ones.
used ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so MetaMask, maybe
Yes.
Coinbase, Solana, and the famous ones at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so obviously, I'll get Jorit one day here, to talk about, the backside of it, right? But
Yes.
for now, let's focus your understanding.
Yeah.
So from getting to know about Web3, okay, so you shared, that Jorit was the one who brought the Web3 aspect into this,
Yeah.
YOM, right?
Yes.
But from your understanding, like when you started to get to know about Web3 and how it was and what was your influence to now building a product on Web3. So how has the
Well,
journey been?
yeah, the
From knowledge
journey.
point of view. Yeah.
Well, basically, so of course, I was for years trying to get a team together, without any money or network or experience. So that's how I got like Alex, Jorit together, and some other people. But of course, a lot of people that joined me earlier, they're long gone. But of course, on the investor side, both of my previous employers, so
Hmm.
that's just, if you just don't give up and live on a 8 square meter student room for years and just sacrifice everything, then then you get then you can create that, um, um, but uh, but yeah, ultimately it was difficult because we were looking like, okay, what's gonna be my role now, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't really. So that was still something we searched for beginning of this year, actually. And then
Hmm.
I just started the LinkedIn group. So it was very spontaneous. I felt like I really wanted to connect with like end users or creators, um,
Hmm.
but I didn't know how to go about it because we were still building, of course, right? And we're
Yeah.
still so we're launching in Q1 next year, finally. But
Oh,
yeah,
congratulations and all the best.
yeah, thanks. But yeah, so how do you go about it? So I felt like yeah, there's so much you can read on the metaverse. There's so much videos you can see, but doesn't it make a lot more sense to just try out what's currently out there together and find use cases
Hmm.
that way by just experimenting with the current technology. So that's what I did. I created a post on LinkedIn with a call to everyone like, hey, let's just meet up in virtual worlds as avatars. Who's joining me? Um, and I got like 300 likes on that. So then I just get a lot of responses, and I was like, okay, I'll just create a LinkedIn group then,
Oh
that's
yeah.
basically how it started.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember seeing that post. So we had already, started interacting on LinkedIn before that, right? So I think
Yeah.
I was one of the initial ones of the 300 people who
Oh,
kind of
nice.
interacted with that post. You know.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. Like how it is there. So I know these are challenges. So what role are you playing? I know you're building this whole
Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
you're taking care of the community bit, right?
Yes, exactly. So basically, that's I'm a community builder, um, and yeah. And what's nice is, so basically what we're now looking at, we want to partner with agencies and studios that have like Unreal Engine capabilities, right? So that's also what we
Yeah,
say at our website, YOM.OO. The whole
yeah,
website, it's quite technical, but it's really geared towards studios and agencies that want to provide more value to their customers that are interested in entering the metaverse. Um, so, and what's nice now is that we actually get leads for those partnerships via the community, because studios and agencies, when they get requests from their clients like, I want to have my own metaverse white
yeah.
labeled and whatever, um, then it's interesting for them to see what's currently out there in the market, right? Or what solutions are there, or how are other people going about it. um, so that's really that's yeah, so that's pretty nice that we get leads out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And like I can be one of your leads because just 2 days
Nice.
ago, I spoke, to a couple of ed tech founders in India who want to
Okay,
build their own metaverse, and I'm scouting for platforms. So, let's,
let's
talk a
talk about
little offline
it.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
it's very interesting. No, cool. So now that you're taking care of the core community, right? So what are the challenges that you face? So anybody, a community manager or a founder listening to this, it could probably help
Sure.
them with this advice. So, what are the challenges and how did you overcome that?
Well, basically, yeah. So what I found with all these different platforms is that it's really important to remove as much friction as possible. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, um, so if you need to download an application and create an
Mm-hmm.
account to participate in a virtual event, that's gonna kill
Mm-hmm.
your. That's really a conversion killer. Uh,
Yeah.
so I've had like amazing experiences on Neos or VR chat, but when I organize events on those platforms, where it's pretty hard to find each other, and you need to be a little bit tech savvy to join and find each other in those worlds. Then I don't know, three or four people will show up, right? So um, and at least that's maybe it's also LinkedIn, or the audience on LinkedIn. Um, Maybe it depends where your audience is, but
Yeah.
for my experience, it's so. For instance, a platform like Party Space, that's of course that's very accessible. Um, it's like I think it's like a combination of Zoom and Metaverse, right? It's very so
Yeah.
it's like a it seems but it's very accessible for a large mainstream audience. So um,
Oh, yeah.
there are
Yeah. So,
multiple.
I think that's a very good point, like accessibility for creating the community, especially for a metaverse community,
Yeah,
right? Obviously, we've been there together in multiple events and, which you have hosted, obviously. And, I think the biggest one is where I think we find more people is the meta spaces, the party space, sorry, the
yeah,
party space, right? And then we I think we tried all space VR as well, some time ago. But the
yeah.
challenge is that is you have to download the application and it's not like a browser driven,
Yes, indeed.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that's where
which
it
one do you
could take
like the
away.
best? Which one do you like the best?
To be honest, I personally liked the one with all space VR because there you have full avatars,
Yeah.
and I also like the one with Odyssey. That
Oh
we
yeah.
did one a couple of weeks back. I'm trying to get in touch with Reed to get a call. Just on a call, we'll be trying to figure out a common time because he's in the
Cool.
US and I'm here,
Oh yeah.
right? But I like that one as well. I like Party Space because it's easy. Like you access. I was today accessing it from the phone itself, but
Yeah.
the avatars are not there. So the see what happens is when you have a full body, it gives you a better, how do I say it, a better feeling about the closeness when you talk to each other,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
I can understand. Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, I also
Yeah,
prefer the full like the 3D avatars. Um,
yeah, the full
so
body. So even spatial offers that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we try.
So we're gonna try out
Interesting.
spatial again. So we had some troubles, with some with too many people trying to join, and then there were some issues. But we're gonna try it
Yeah,
again soon.
yeah. No, I know. Like I faced. I got kicked out once because of the 50 people limit in one space, right?
Yeah,
So that's okay. I think these are evolving platforms, and over a period of time, they will definitely evolve to a level where it
yeah,
becomes much more smooth
yeah.
and
But
easy.
I think there's still, of course, how we see it is, or what I see in the market is like there are, I think, three kinds of solutions, right? So you have the ones you download and render on your so native rendering, right? So Altspace is application you download. Then you have WebGL, which is in the browser, which is like Spatial, Mona, and other platforms.
Hmm.
Um, but then it's still, because you're rendering it locally,
Yeah,
you still need to downscale, and there, I think there will, yeah, I think there will always be stability issues when you have a large amount of people joining. And then you have the cloud, and that's like Odyssey, but also YOM. Um, yeah, basically where everything is rendered in the cloud. So that,
oh
we
yeah,
so of course, obviously, we think the future is in the cloud because you want these devices to become ultra thin, right? So um, like local rendering doesn't make sense because
yeah,
you will still keep like a big helmet, and it will get very heated. And with the
yeah.
cloud, you can create more small, yeah, ultra thin devices.
Yeah. No, so that is true, to some extent. But I think, like what will happen is when edge computing takes shape, where you have distributed performance. So it's not really being processed at the phone level, but getting processed at the, like a local network level, when the edge computing fully get implemented, right? I think obviously Yorit can tell us better
Yeah,
around that
yeah, that's your
understanding,
that's
right?
department. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. I know it's Yorit. But I think that will kind of, streamline the whole process of cloud computing distributed
yeah,
and better experience,
Interesting.
especially on the phones, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because those need much more power.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's interesting. So how many people are there in the team right now?
Around 20 people right now. Yeah, so it's
Oh,
mostly,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So mostly cloud engineers. Yeah,
Yeah. So what are the challenges of putting the team together? Because like it's a novel idea. It's not something which has been heard before too much. You're trying to create something from thin air. I mean, that's the
yeah,
way I see it. When you're building a product.
yeah,
So getting okay, so Yorit was somebody who had understanding of Web3 blockchain. He could understand the technical aspects of it.
yeah,
But getting the team together, like especially for people who would kind of were working somewhere else or looking for a new opportunity, right?
yeah,
And trying to explain this idea. Just share a little bit about that.
yeah,
Like understanding is not very easy around it as well.
yeah. Well, basically, I don't know. I guess so. With me, what I basically did was so when I just started posting on LinkedIn like this is my idea, and I'm I was just sharing my entrepreneurial adventure with everyone, right? So it was
Nice.
like everything I was posting, like, oh, I have now a meeting with this guy or with this woman, and she's like, well, back then it was a 3D presentation idea, right? But oh,
Yeah.
she's like a super expert in presentations. Wow, awesome! Got some good feedback. I was very like a little bit over the top, maybe naively, or just sharing
Excited.
yeah, just my
Yeah.
excitement. And then
Yeah.
I don't, and then people cheer you on, and then I was just hyping up. So I was just just creating more hype, and then just connecting people with each other. But it was a long road. Ultimately, when you don't have money, people just leave. Ultimately, it goes so far, right? And luckily, so basically how it went is with so Jorrit and me, we started a limited company in July 2020, and then
Okay.
via my previous boss, my previous boss connected his good friend Alex to Jorrit and me. So then from there on, Alex became the managing director, now
Mm-hmm.
CEO. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the three of us, we managed to get like via the Rabobank, which is a bank in the Netherlands. We
Mm-hmm.
managed to get like an innovation credit at the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
So that saved us there. And then later on the year, so we did a lot of demos. We did the first showcase. We tried to get to see like the product market fit, which was difficult. Then we integrated blockchain in the summer of 2021, and then started with our tokenomics. And then via the crypto investor side, especially after the whole rebranding Facebook to Meta,
Yeah.
we got via a pre-sale of our token, we got funding. So that's then of course then you can hire people, right? And then
Oh yes, absolutely.
sure,
Like you need to.
but yeah,
Ah, yeah, yeah. So the way so what I've understood is like talking to different founders like yourself, and from my experience in other companies, it's like the initial set 1, 2, 3, 4 people will come because of the vision,
yeah,
right? Like who would take that risk of probably leaving their jobs, or like trying to double time, like wherever it's allowed, obviously legally. So you work one job and then support you. But most of the team, can only come in once you have a decent bank balance in place, like because you need to really pay them, right?
yeah,
Everybody cannot come for the vision, right? Vision doesn't fill the stomach, so to
yeah.
say, like, or get the actions
Some
done,
people have
so
families, right? So that is different.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
any
yeah,
other responsibilities aside from myself,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So as an individual it becomes much more easier, to kind of risk few things.
Yeah,
But for others, yeah. So it's interesting journey, like, so how is that now? So now you've been 1 year, you have 20 people team, and now you're actually talking to people. So why, what I want to ask is that web3 is a new thing, right? And with the crypto, because you're also talking about tokenomics, so
yeah,
Web3 and the cryptocurrencies don't have one, there's no separation. Like a lot of general public thinks that cryptocurrencies is Web3. So there's a lot of challenge, for one person or any individual working on technologies within Web3, like NFTs, Metaverse, blockchain, or several others, to explain, the difference, that you're
oh,
not a
between
scam,
metaverse and Web3,
right?
you mean? Or
Oh yes, like, yeah. So so there's a separation,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when you go and talk to people who are from native web 2 industry, so what
yeah.
is their usual reaction, right? They understand what you're trying to say, or you have to like really really come up
Yeah.
with different facts and figures to kind of tell them,
Mm.
convince maybe is a strong word, but just to share what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's difficult. So, with YOM, where we see the most added value right now is
Mm-hmm.
sports media and entertainment. So big
Mm-hmm.
brands. So for instance, like a TV. So we're that's really great. A really big TV show. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be on YOM. We can't. I can't disclose it yet, but like a media production company that's really big, but they saw the metaverse, or it came from themselves, right? So they saw, you know what, people are watching less and less TV. There's this new
Mm-hmm.
thing, and they got it right, that this is, they didn't really understand it fully, but they understood that they needed to take this seriously. So um so yeah, they congratulations, nice. So yeah, so there wasn't that much convincing, but for more, I don't know, quote unquote regular companies like
Yeah.
B2B, education, government, Okay, yeah, that's really hard, man. Yeah, I think it's for a lot of companies. It's just too early now. It's not relevant for them
Yeah,
now. So yeah, trying to sell. So I think a lot of people, yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of people just find this vague or hype or a scam. I think, yeah, we need to, it's good to be aware of that. That a lot of people think we're all scammers.
oh
Unfortunately,
yes, oh yes, yeah, yeah. It's a very unfortunate thing, but like if you see, that is most with anything path breaking or anything new, right?
yeah,
So
true.
whenever when the internet started, the web 2, like when Facebook, or before Facebook, there was MySpace and Orkut. I'm not sure if you remember that. There was
Arkun?
Orkut, Orkut. So that was one of the initial social platforms where you could talk about people. You
Oh,
can
cool. I didn't know
share a
that.
lot of, yeah, so good about people. So this was before Facebook came in. So then there was MySpace
Interesting.
and High Five. There was, I think, one more called High Five. I
Okay.
remember. So when these were coming up, there was again a talk, like this is a scam. And then in 2020, like early 2000,
Yeah.
I don't know the exact year. So there was a, like .com bubble burst. That's what it
Oh,
is called,
sure. Yeah.
right? So it
Yeah.
was a major crash. So a lot of web companies, like they went down the drain.
Yeah.
So again, what happened is the people who kept building, like the Facebooks and several others around that time, they kind of minted, and we know where they are right now. Like Facebook is one of the biggest companies in social
Yeah.
media. So yeah, so
Yeah, indeed. So, indeed, unfortunately, with the bear market, of course, I hear also other companies that are really making or really putting an effort right into creating something serious or like a
yeah,
long-term solution. Everyone
yeah.
is having a really hard time. Um, but
You just got to keep trying, right? Like one needs to really keep trying, and and that's where the founders who are like yourselves, and I can put myself in a similar bracket, who are
yeah,
persisting with the kind of work that people are doing, the
yeah,
probability of them gaining a bigger share of the pie is much higher, right? Because you're not one in it only for the money. You're not trying to scam people. You're actually trying to build something which has utility,
yeah, yeah.
and anything which has utility will always survive the down times.
Yeah, yeah. So that's nice. So now we're getting traction, which is great. Uh, and now
Hmm.
what's also for people maybe listening, also trying to raise funds. You also have like, of course, the EU. We're from Europe. There is also funds there, right? If you have
Oh,
innovation, and the EU doesn't want to be left behind as well. So,
oh, absolutely, absolutely. So,
so
but are they funding projects outside of EU? Like, okay, so as an investor, is EU funding projects outside of EU?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think. No, 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 no. That's really,
Yeah,
really the EU. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
So,
but even then, like that encompasses a lot of countries. So so a lot of people will get a chance to kind of
yeah,
create nice
yeah,
products
yeah. So
with funds available.
you have the European Innovation Council, and you can apply
Hmm.
for a grant. It's really,
Hmm.
of course, really a lot of work to fill it all in, but we're really far in the process, and it's really good. There's really critical analysis, but it seems fair, right? So with some VCs, you share your deck, and then they don't even look at it, right, and they just pass it without giving feedback or whatever. It's sometimes it comes across really random, and then
Yeah.
and with this, the feeling is really like that at least it's much more closer to fair, or that there are people that are really understanding what they're talking about. Or
Yeah, that too, and like people are invested in your product in a way, like maybe support you, if not financially, with guidance and with
yeah,
knowledge and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's
So
interesting.
yeah, so yeah, so I hope to get some nice news about that soon, but I cannot disclose it yet, of course. But
That's fine. All the best for that.
yeah,
Absolutely,
thanks,
all the
thanks.
best. More
Yeah,
money, the merrier.
yeah. Of course, yeah,
you know,
and then
you
you can
can
just
you can
keep paying people,
scale
right?
the team. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Also important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, like your beta version. Now the product is ready to release, and quarter 1 is like really next month, right?
Yeah.
So when is it releasing? January, Feb, or March?
February, end of February. Yeah.
End of
That's
February. Okay. And what would the, like the users will be able to do, with a basic understanding of the product?
Can
What
I
would the
maybe
beta
share a
version have?
presentation on it, or I'm not sure. This is very spontaneous. I don't know if that works with your setup, right? Otherwise, I can just
Oh
explain.
yeah,
Uh,
you can just give a quick explanation, and if you even want to present, I'm okay with that.
yeah.
That's not a
Okay.
problem.
Sure.
I
Sure.
think
Let me get the. One sec.
yeah, why not? Like
Yeah, I'll just
I mean,
share the screen. Maybe that will help. One sec. Share screen.
absolutely.
One sec. Presentation slides. Your computer. Okay. Upload file.
Yeah.
I'm going to the tokenomics if that's not too big a file. No, that's fine. Uploading. Cool. Yeah, this is really nice.
Absolutely.
StreamYard. Okay, so it's uploading. Um,
Yeah.
all right. Let's. I can. How does that work?
Okay.
Do you need to
So I
approve
think
it?
I yeah, I think I'll say add to stream.
Ah,
It's
nice.
here.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, cool. So, yeah,
Cool.
basically, your open metaverse. So, this is our tokenomics. I'll show you a couple of slides to
Hmm.
explain our proposition. Yeah,
Okay.
so you mentioned it before. It's an infrastructure. With this infrastructure, you can stream like your own white labeled metaverse experiences from your own website, from your own channels,
Hmm.
photorealistically to any device, so your phone, your laptop, or VR headset, ultimately also, and also with Web3 integration. So basically, I've been trying to find all the cool experiences, right, that are currently possible. And
Yeah.
as you know, we've had a couple of really fun experiences, but a lot of the times it can be pretty boring. You get
Yeah.
a lot of negative news about metaverse environments that just a few people show up, or it's completely empty. And
Yeah.
I think yeah, that's something people can relate to, but it's completely unnecessary, right? So people want exciting experiences that they can
Absolutely.
easily access, and ultimately you want to access it with ultra thin devices. And then on the other hand, you have creators that so what you nowadays have a lot of metaverses out there. In fact, they're more, yeah, if you just be honest, so they're more blockchain games, right? It's not like an ecosystem. Yeah, so or it most of them are games, and they have like technical hardware and content constraints. So you create stuff within yeah, in like a runtime application. um,
Yeah.
and with YOM, you can create your experiences on the game engine level. So it's just in Unreal Engine, you have all the possibilities to create like the experiences that you want. So it could be a top-down level. It could be like you can spawn. Everyone can spawn as a submarine or as a dragon or whatever. It's just so let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna explain more in this slide about that. But let's
Hmm.
just go one back. So this is how we see like the evolution of the metaverse, so to say. It started
Hmm.
all with Second Life. It was of course that's very revolutionary. Using game technologies not for a game, but really to create like a new Second Life, basically. Um,
Yeah.
whole ecosystem. Of course, there were a lot of companies then that also jumped on the hype train and started opening businesses in Second Life. It was a single application, native rendering, and there was no blockchain, so it couldn't be integrated then, of course. Um, Now, the next step, what we see now, and which with companies that got like really huge valuations, like Decentraland and the Sandbox, they have there's still a single application. With the Sandbox, you need to download the game, but with Decentraland, it's in the browser, but it's with WebGL. And all the assets are on chain, so you can uh, um, trade them also outside of the platform. Um,
Hmm.
so, so that's what you see nowadays. And what we now see at the next level is like a distributed metaverse, just like the internet is distributed. All these top level
Hmm.
domains, and you go from one website to the other. That's how we see also with the metaverse. You have all these meta spaces, as we call it. On your own domain, on your own
Yeah.
channel, and then you can frictionlessly move from one meta space to the other, and not having like a centralized access, right? That you go to the Centraland or the Sandbox, but just to all these individual meta spaces. So that's how we see it. So everything is on chain. It's not a single application, but it's a mesh of applications. And what we propose, because that's currently a pain in the market when you consider pixel streaming as a solution, the costs of pixel streaming are pretty expensive right now. So you have AWS, you have Azure, you have Google, so all these centralized cloud solutions, and they're pretty expensive. It's like 5 cents per minute per user, I think. So we want to set up a peer-to-peer network so that everyone can offer can use their gaming PC or the gaming rig, um, not to mine Bitcoin, but to render the metaverse. And then you get much more higher rewards than with Bitcoin mining. So that's where also the token is for, basically, to render
Hmm.
the metaverse. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, so that's how we want to significantly bring the costs down of pixel streaming.
Cool. So what
So
about a little tokenomics? So how do people make money? Like, who are sharing their
yeah, I have
rigs?
some slides on it, but that's also a bit technical. But I can
Ah,
go
okay.
into it. I can. So this is in short just what it is. You create, your experiences on the game engine level. First, it's Unreal
Hmm.
Engine 5. In later phases, it will also be possible with Unity.
Hmm.
So you can compose your experiences just the way you want it. So not just spawning as avatars, but for instance, like an F1 race, right? So maybe you have like a Formula One race happening in the real world with Max Verstappen, and then you can connect that data feed to like a virtual meta space where you can race against Max Verstappen in a metaverse.
Hmm.
And if you win the race, then
Interesting.
you get an NFT, and that NFT that is connected, also in the user journey on your own website. Um, so. So those kinds of experiences they are not possible in blockchain games, right? When there are
Yeah.
constraints on what you can create. Um, so that's what we want to make possible. Well, there's also like a dashboard. You have you
Hmm.
can have your analytics on it and manage your experiences. And then of course, through hyper portals, you can go from one experience to the other. So what we of course want is to create this ecosystem and expand it. Um, so this is how we see the market now, and I'll just
Hmm.
explain it in short. We see two axes. So you have composability, which means having the Formula One race experience with Max Verstappen, in first person, or stuff. So basically, experiences like you would have on Steam. Like these
Hmm.
awesome games, these awesome experiences, photorealistic, premium, unique. Um,
Yeah.
so that's composability, and on the other axis is interoperability, and that's what you see, for
Yeah.
instance, with the Sandbox and the Centraland, right? So you can have these content flow across all these experiences and these ecosystems. You can trade your assets outside of the platform. Um, so so that's where we see the sweet spot, and that's what we nowadays. So that's what we want to be with YOM, and that's what we not see in the market today. So it's in the market today. It seems to be more of a trade off. So and the down, would we be a downside possibly is that with YOM it isn't possible to deploy it for free. For instance, with Spatial and Mona, you can upload your Unity world, and then it's free to have it there. so there are no price barriers. But
Yeah.
yeah, for pixel streaming, even though we're lowering significantly the costs, it's still something you need to pay for.
But that's fine, as long as the experience is better and the experience is heightened in terms of quality and everything. I
Yeah,
don't think like especially the businesses would mind paying a little, I would say a dime as compared to the top dollar in the existing systems,
yeah,
for better experiences for their customers, because that adds them better engagement. But
exactly,
right.
and also how we see it is basically, people don't go in the meta. Well, it can depend, of course, but we think the most, for now, what we see is the most added value is really experiences, but also like 20-minute experiences, right, or 30-minute
Yeah.
experiences, like really like an
Yeah.
awesome concert or whatever, or some immersive
Absolutely.
community experience that's really awesome, so yeah, you can, how we see it, at least, you can turn it on and off, right? It doesn't have to be fine all the time, at least, uh, for now.
Yeah.
So this is more
No,
the
you like
technical. This is more the Jurid part,
absolutely.
by the way. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So let's,
I hope,
yes, we can
yeah,
leave that for now.
yeah. So hopefully it makes a bit of sense. You have Bitcoin mining, and people just, you can have your PC on idle, and make a passive income, basically. That's and
Yeah.
you're also, so we call these people that these gamers, we call them beacons.
Uh-huh.
They turn on the light. So
Yeah.
yeah. So this is, I can go. I can close this present, or maybe you should close
Yeah.
it.
I will do that. I can
Okay,
take this
cool.
off.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, like Daniel, for sharing that piece of insight. I mean, it's very interesting, what you're trying to build.
Thanks.
And people who are already in the industry, like who understand Bitcoin mining and everything. So for them, it's a similar concept, right?
Yeah.
So you will have validators and there, like who should be the actual doing it. So you have automatic process there because you're just using the system resources.
Yeah. Well, basically, we're still working out all the, how to make sure that everything is fair, right? So how to distribute. So there's going to be quite some algorithms there also, right, to connect the beacons to the brands, or to yeah, to determine which PCs are going to render a certain experience, and how to make that fair
Absolutely.
so that everyone can get equal opportunities for rewards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm sure, like by the time you launch your beta and, things are much, when you have a lot of users and validators,
yeah,
kind of profiles attached on the network, I think,
yeah,
then system would kindly, how do I say it? Would smoothen out itself. That's the
yeah,
way I see it.
yeah, exactly. So
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So fantastic. So I think it's been a lovely discussion. I just have, like three, four kind of questions,
sure.
just which I usually ask. So one is, like I saw from your presentation that there is no competition in your sphere right now, right?
No, so there are companies that are using pixel streaming, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so companies are seeing that. I don't see the combination right now, at least with also Web3 integration, and I definitely don't
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of. We don't see other companies with that same vision on like rendering, or using using a token as a way to lower the cost of pixel streaming. Um,
Yeah.
so we have it's really holistic, the way, or at least that's our approach, to basically create a whole metaverse as we see what a metaverse is, basically, right? So an
Oh,
infrastructure.
nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's a good way, and I'm just happy, that I have, within my team and extended teams, people who work on Unity and Unreal, like apart from blockchain dev.
cool. Yeah,
So so it becomes easier for me to, like utilize your system and
yeah,
work on it.
yeah. Maybe we can.
Absolutely.
So is that Anemoy solution, or that's
Yeah,
another?
Animo.
Okay,
Yeah. No. So Animo Solution is, the my company,
cool,
right?
awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. So now, like now we're pretty much at the end of this show. So your outlook for Web3 in one word. So like positive, negative, or neutral?
But I think positive. Of course, I think this is the way to go with the metaverse, right? So I don't know how you
Yeah.
solve it otherwise with interoperability. I think
Mhm.
it's really convenient, that you don't have to create an account, have all your info stored in a central database, but you can just log in with your wallet. Of course,
Mhm.
optional, right? So other people that
Yeah.
are not that savvy or are into it, that they can also join these experiences. But for instance, with my Explorer events, where I'm using
Mhm.
all these different platforms, right? But it would be cool
Yeah.
at certain moments to reward people to that are so like you, right? That regularly attend these experiences, because if they don't come, then I don't have an event, right? So of course
Yeah.
I'm creating value, but other people there by participating are also creating value for me. So it would be nice if you get with like, so that's where I'm really looking forward to, to use these technology also to reward people, and also to set up. Ultimately, what they would love would be like a DAO, right? That's also one of our plans in the future, that you have active participants. They get uh,
Yeah.
they get sold out tokens or something like that, and then they that the level of influence you have is that it isn't. It's not like who has the most money, but who participates the most. That would be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm looking.
Fantastic. Look forward to it. Let me know when, if you come up with some plan around it. I'll
Yeah,
be happy
sure.
to be a part of it.
Awesome, awesome. Let's
Fantastic.
go.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Nice, nice,
I
nice.
think it's
Great.
gonna make there's definitely, so of course now we're in the phase, there's a lot of, so it's very early, and you have a lot of you know stupid projects, or I mean, like, there's a lot of nonsense or noise, but ultimately the market will mature, and I think there's a big potential here to really make the internet more fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It'll happen, over a period of time. So
yeah,
cool. So I think last question for the evening. Last
sure.
point rather. One or two critical pieces of advice for the people, like primarily students or, freshers who are straight out of college who are getting into Web3 space right now.
Yeah, well, maybe join me in my LinkedIn group. So then you will get like a
That's a good
sense.
thing.
That's just, be active, try out different platforms. Um, Also connect with other people in the space. Yeah, there's so much. I really like LinkedIn, but maybe some people will like. Oh wait, I think I need to be kicked out. I need to go out of this room right now. So yeah, get
Yeah,
involved, try out
sure.
different platforms and network. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Cool.
and I booked the space
No,
to.
I think we no, absolutely. I think we can wrap it up at this point, and so thank you so much everybody for joining in, and like it's been a pleasure hosting you. So this will podcast will be hosted on YouTube next, and I'll share the link with you. And yeah, so thank you very much again for viewers joining in.
Thanks, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, Alec.
Thanks.
Nice. Was a nice
Yeah.
conversation.